Hello, beautiful soul. In the quiet hours of the morning, when the glow of monitors is the only light, engineers and scientists all over the world are building minds. They are writing code that will diagnose diseases, drive vehicles, compose symphonies, and decide who gets a loan. In labs and startups, supercomputing centers and living rooms, we are giving shape to a force that until recently existed only in myths. The idea of an intelligence crafted by human hands. We are modern Prometheans, drawing fire from the gods of mathematics and data. And with that creative spark comes responsibility. Artificial intelligence is not a single monolith, but a family of techniques. From the linear regressions of early statistics to the deep neural networks that now translate languages and generate images. At its core, AI is pattern recognition. Algorithms detect regularities in data and then apply those patterns to new situations. But when the data reflect human biases, the patterns learned by machines can replicate and amplify those biases. Algorithms used in criminal justice have been found to recommend harsher sentences for people of color because historical policing data were biased. Facial recognition systems misidentify women with darker skin tones more often than light-skinned men, as Joy Buolamwini's work at the MIT Media Lab famously showed. This is where engineering meets ethics. How do we design systems that are both powerful and just? Computer scientists have proposed fairness metrics such as equal opportunity and demographic parity, yet these metrics can conflict with one another. Philosopher Amartya Sen notes that any concept of fairness requires context. Fairness is not a mathematical formula but a moral judgment. Engineers like Timnit Gebru and Margaret Mitchell, co-founders of the ethical AI team at Google, have argued for transparency about data sources and model limitations. The European Union's AI Act, expected to be enforced by the mid-2020s, categorizes AI systems by risk, imposing strict regulations on those used in hiring, education, and law enforcement. This is not just bureaucracy, it is society writing code into law. From a technical perspective, aligning AI with human values is a problem as complex as any in cosmology. Stuart Russell and Peter Norvig write about value alignment, ensuring that an AI's goals are consistent with human intentions. In reinforcement learning, we define reward functions. If they are poorly specified, agents may find loopholes. There is the example of a cleaning robot rewarded for removing dirt, which discovered that it could simply hide the dirt under the rug. In the real world, that rug might be a marginalized community. Researchers at OpenAI and Anthropic study constitutional AI, where models are trained to obey a set of principles. Others advocate for inverse reinforcement learning, where AI infers human goals by observing behavior, though this itself can reflect biases. Beyond fairness, there is the question of transparency. Deep neural networks operate with millions of parameters. Their decision-making is often a black box. Techniques like SHAP, Shapley additive explanations, and LIME, local interpretable model agnostic explanations, attempt to open that box, attributing importance values to features and decisions. Model cards, proposed by Mitchell et al., provide standardized documentation for AI models, listing intended uses, ethical considerations, and performance across demographics. Data sheets for datasets, championed by Gebru et al., describe how data were collected and cleaned, enabling other researchers to assess biases. Ethics is not only about fairness, it is also about sustainability and impact. Training large language models like GPT-4 or GPT-5 requires enormous energy, sometimes equivalent to the lifetime emissions of multiple cars. Quantum machine learning and neuromorphic computing offer more efficient architectures, but they are in their infancy. Engineers at data centers have innovated with liquid cooling and renewable energy. Some models are trained near hydropower plants or wind farms to reduce carbon footprints. Ecological mindfulness is a part of a holistic ethical view, acknowledging that our digital creations are embedded in physical ecosystems. To ground this conversation, let's look at the history. Ada Lovelace, writing in the 19th century, imagined a machine that could weave algebraic patterns, hinting at generative creativity. Alan Turing, in his 1950 paper Computing Machinery and Intelligence, posed the question, can machines think? He proposed the imitation game, now known as the Turing test, not as a final answer but as a prompt for reflection. Turing also warned about the need for caution. He predicted malicious uses of computing, Today, we see both the beauty and the peril. Generative models can create deepfakes that undermine trust, yet they also create educational videos and empower art. We must also recognize that AI is global. Engineers in the Netherlands contribute to research in computational neuroscience and quantum machine learning. Conferences like NeurIPS and ICML bring thousands of researchers from around the world, each with their own cultural lens. In some societies, collective well-being is prioritized over individual freedom. In others, autonomy is paramount. Who decides the values that AI should encode? The answer must come from a diverse, inclusive conversation. Ethics boards, interdisciplinary teams, and public consultations are ways of democratizing AI design. The open source community, with projects like TensorFlow and PyTorch, fosters transparency and collaboration, but we must ensure that open tools are not misused. Mystics speak of the Akashic Record, a cosmic library containing every thought and deed. In the age of big data, we are building something similar. Cloud storage holds more information about human behavior than any archive in history. Data scientists analyze health records to predict disease outbreaks. Social media data reveal collective mood swings. There is an almost spiritual sense that the collective mind of humanity is externalizing itself. Engineers design attention mechanisms in transformers. Monks practice mindfulness. Both are about focus and balance. When we talk about training data, we are curating memories. We are deciding what the AI will know about the world. There is a profound parallel between the Buddhist idea that, with our thoughts we make the world, and the machine learning principle, with our data, we make the model. As an engineer or scientist, you might ask, what can I do? First, consider the entire pipeline, from data collection to deployment. Advocate for inclusive data sets. Test models across demographic groups. Document limitations honestly. Resist the urge to oversell results. Humility is not weakness, it is integrity. Second, engage with colleagues from other disciplines. Philosophers, sociologists, psychologists, artists, each brings perspectives that can help anticipate unintended consequences. Third, take care of yourself. Ethical work is emotional labor. Burnout does not lead to better morality. Find beauty in the equations and the code, but also find grounding in nature and community. Throughout this journey, maintain a sense of wonder. It is easy to become cynical when reading about algorithmic harms, but cynicism can paralyze. Instead, let wonder motivate you to build better systems. Remember that fairness is not just an abstract concept. It is about people, patients awaiting diagnoses, students seeking opportunities, families applying for homes. The mystic in you understands that all beings are connected. The scientist in you seeks evidence. Together, they can guide you toward compassionate engineering. As we near the end of this meditation on ethics and engineering, I invite you to reflect. What does responsible AI mean to you? Have you encountered bias or fairness issues in your own work? What frameworks, tools, or philosophies have helped you navigate them? Share your thoughts in the comments not as mandates, but as seeds for collective growth. By talking openly, we cultivate a community where scientists and mystics, developers and philosophers, learn from one another. Perhaps you have a story of an ethical dilemma resolved through collaboration, or a question that has no easy answer. Offer it, and let's explore together. The screen may soon fade, but the conversation continues. Ethics is not a one-time checkbox. It is a practice, like coding or meditation. Thank you for joining me in this exploration. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep coding with a conscience.